Tom, a seasoned car salesman at a Los Angeles dealership, stood near the latest luxury models, his eyes scanning the lot for potential customers. His gaze settled on Malik, a young black man dressed in trendy streetwear, approaching the showroom. Tom's lips curled into a slight sneer as he walked over to greet the newcomer. "Can I help you?" Tom asked, his tone tinged with condescension. Malik smiled politely. "Yes, I'm interested in the new sports coupe you have advertised." Tom's eyebrows raised skeptically. "Are you sure you're in the right place? These cars are quite expensive." Malik's expression hardened slightly, but he maintained his composure. "I'm well aware of the prices. I'd like to test drive the red model, please." Tom chuckled, shaking his head. "Look, kid, why don't you start with something more in your league? We have some nice used cars over there." Malik's hand moved to his pocket, discreetly activating his phone's camera. "I'd appreciate it if you didn't make assumptions about what I can afford based on how I look." Tom, oblivious to the recording, continued his disdainful comments. "I'm just being realistic. A guy like you probably spends more on those sneakers than on car payments." Malik's jaw clenched, but he kept his cool. "A guy like me? What exactly do you mean by that?" Tom, digging himself deeper, replied, "You know, young, urban. Probably more interested in image than substance." Malik ended the recording and looked Tom straight in the eye. "Thank you for your time. I think I've seen enough of this dealership's customer service." As Malik walked away, he reviewed the footage, his mind racing with the implications of what had just transpired. He knew he couldn't let this incident go unchallenged. With a few taps on his phone, he uploaded the video to his social media accounts, adding the hashtag #RespectMalik, #RespectMalik. Within minutes, notifications began flooding in. Comments, shares, and messages of support poured onto Malik's feed. The video was spreading rapidly, igniting a conversation about racial profiling and discrimination in everyday situations. Malik realized that his experience had struck a chord with many others who had faced similar prejudice. The video of Malik's encounter with Tom at the car dealership spread like wildfire across social media platforms. Within hours, it had amassed millions of views, shares, and comments. The hashtag #RespectMalik trended nationwide, sparking intense discussions about racial profiling and discrimination in retail settings. News outlets picked up the story, featuring clips of the video and inviting commentators to discuss the broader implications of such incidents. Social media users shared their own experiences of discrimination, creating a snowball effect that amplified the conversation. Malik's phone buzzed constantly with notifications. Messages flooded in from people of all backgrounds, many sharing their own stories of prejudice and expressing gratitude for his courage in speaking out. Some recounted similar experiences in car dealerships, while others described discrimination in various aspects of their lives. One message, in particular, caught Malik's attention. It was from a young woman who had been denied a job interview because of her ethnic-sounding name. She thanked Malik for giving her the courage to speak up about her experience. Inspired by the outpouring of support and the realization that his voice could make a difference, Malik decided to take action. He organized a series of live streams, inviting experts, activists, and everyday people to discuss racism, unconscious bias, and strategies for promoting inclusivity. The first live stream attracted thousands of viewers. Malik moderated a panel discussion featuring a sociology professor, a civil rights lawyer, and a diversity consultant. They delved into the systemic nature of racism and offered practical advice for combating prejudice in daily life. Subsequent streams covered topics such as microaggressions, representation in media, and the importance of allyship. Malik's eloquence and genuine passion for change resonated with viewers, solidifying his role as a leader in this burgeoning movement. As the days passed, Malik's follower count skyrocketed. He became a sought-after voice on issues of racial justice, receiving invitations to speak at schools, community centers, and even corporate events. The car dealership incident had transformed from a personal affront into a catalyst for broader social change. Malik embraced his new role with determination, knowing that the conversation he had started was just the beginning of a longer journey toward equality and respect for all. At the car dealership, the atmosphere was tense. Tom sat nervously in the manager's office, facing the stern looks of his superiors. The viral video had thrust the dealership into an unwanted spotlight, and damage control was now their top priority. "Tom, do you understand the gravity of this situation?" the general manager asked, his voice laced with frustration. "Your actions have not only tarnished our reputation, but also exposed us to potential legal action." Tom shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "I was just doing my job," he muttered defensively. "How was I supposed to know he could afford those cars?" The HR director interjected, her tone sharp. "That's precisely the problem, Tom. You made assumptions based on appearance, and now we're all paying the price." As part of their crisis management strategy, the dealership mandated immediate diversity training for all employees. Tom found himself in a conference room with his colleagues, listening to a diversity consultant discuss unconscious bias and cultural sensitivity. Throughout the session, Tom fidgeted and rolled his eyes, struggling to engage with the material. When asked to participate in role-playing exercises, he reluctantly complied but couldn't shake the feeling that he was being unfairly targeted. "This is ridiculous," Tom whispered to a colleague during a break. "We're salespeople, not social workers. How are we supposed to do our jobs if we can't size up customers?" His colleague, Sarah, looked at him with a mixture of pity and frustration. "Tom, don't you see? This isn't just about sales. It's about treating people with respect, regardless of how they look." As the training continued, Sarah found herself increasingly affected by the discussions. She began to recall instances where she had witnessed or even participated in subtle forms of discrimination. The realization made her uncomfortable, but it also sparked a desire to learn more. After the session, Sarah approached the diversity consultant, asking for additional resources. She then reached out to Malik through social media, expressing her regret for not speaking up sooner and her desire to be part of the solution. Tom, meanwhile, left the training feeling defensive and misunderstood. He couldn't shake the feeling that his world was changing in ways he wasn't prepared for, and he wasn't sure how to adapt. In the wake of the viral video incident, the car dealership's management realized they needed to take decisive action to repair their image and address the underlying issues. After lengthy discussions with their PR team and diversity consultants, they decided to organize a community event focused on inclusion and understanding. The dealership reached out to Malik and Sarah, inviting them to collaborate on planning the event. Initially skeptical, Malik saw an opportunity to create meaningful change and agreed to participate. Sarah, eager to make amends and learn more, threw herself into the planning process. The event was designed to transform the dealership into a temporary community center. Local artists were invited to display works that celebrated diversity and social justice. A stage was set up for speakers and performers from various cultural backgrounds. The showroom was rearranged to create space for discussion circles and workshops. As word spread about the upcoming event, the response from the community was mixed. Many praised the dealership for taking concrete steps towards inclusivity, while others remained skeptical, viewing it as a mere publicity stunt. Malik used his platform to promote the event, emphasizing its potential for genuine dialogue and change. He invited several of his followers who had shared their own experiences of discrimination to participate as speakers or panelists. Sarah worked tirelessly behind the scenes, coordinating with local organizations and ensuring that a wide range of voices would be represented. She felt a growing sense of purpose in her work, realizing how much she had to learn about the experiences of marginalized communities. As the day of the event approached, anticipation grew. Local media outlets picked up the story, interviewing Malik and dealership representatives about their goals for the gathering. The dealership's parking lot was transformed with colorful banners and booths for various community organizations. Tom, however, remained conflicted. He had been assigned to help with the event's logistics, but he struggled to embrace its purpose. The prospect of facing the community he had offended filled him with a mixture of shame and resentment. As he helped set up chairs and tables, he overheard excited conversations about the speakers and activities planned for the day. The night before the event, Tom tossed and turned in bed, knowing he would be expected to participate fully. He wondered how he would face Malik and whether his colleagues would ever look at him the same way again. The weight of his actions and the impending event left him feeling both anxious and uncertain about his place in this changing world. The day of the event arrived, and the dealership was transformed. A diverse crowd filled the showroom and spilled out into the parking lot. The air buzzed with anticipation and nervous energy as people from all walks of life mingled, their voices creating a tapestry of languages and accents. Malik took the stage to open the event, his presence commanding attention. "Today," he began, "we're not here to buy or sell cars. We're here to exchange ideas, share experiences, and build understanding." His words set the tone for what was to come. Throughout the day, a series of speakers took the stage. A local professor discussed the history of racial discrimination in housing and automotive industries. A panel of young activists shared their experiences of profiling in retail spaces. An imam from a nearby mosque spoke about fostering interfaith dialogue. In between formal presentations, attendees participated in workshops and discussion circles. Topics ranged from recognizing microaggressions to strategies for being an effective ally. The conversations were often uncomfortable, but always enlightening. Tom stood at the periphery, watching the proceedings with a mixture of awe and unease. He observed his colleagues engaging enthusiastically in discussions, some even sharing their own experiences of bias. The genuine emotions on display made him shift uncomfortably. As the day progressed, Tom felt an increasing pressure to participate more actively. He knew that many in the community were aware of his role in the incident that sparked this event. Their occasional glances in his direction made him acutely aware of their expectations. Sarah approached Tom during a break. "You should join one of the discussion groups," she suggested gently. "It's really eye-opening." Tom nodded non-committally, his mind racing. He knew he was expected to make some sort of public statement or apology, but the thought filled him with dread. What could he say that wouldn't sound hollow or insincere? As the event neared its conclusion, the dealership's manager announced that there would be an open mic session for community members to share their thoughts. Tom felt his heart rate increase. He knew this was his moment to address the crowd, to try and make amends. But as he looked at the sea of faces, each with their own story of struggle and resilience, he wondered if any words could truly bridge the gap he had created. With trembling hands, Tom made his way towards the stage, knowing that his next actions could either begin to heal wounds or deepen them further. Tom approached the microphone, his palms sweating and heart racing. The room fell silent as people recognized him, some whispering to their neighbors, others crossing their arms expectantly. He cleared his throat, his voice shaky as he began to speak. I'm Tom," he started, unnecessarily. "I'm the reason we're all here today." He paused, struggling to find the right words. "What I did was wrong. I judged Malik based on how he looked, and I treated him with disrespect. I've spent the last few weeks trying to understand why I did that, and I've realized how much damage those kinds of assumptions can cause." The crowd listened intently, their expressions a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Tom continued, his voice growing steadier. "I can't undo what I did, but I can promise to do better. Today has shown me how much I still have to learn. I'm sorry for the pain I caused Malik and anyone else who's faced similar treatment." As Tom finished speaking, a scattered applause broke out. Some nodded approvingly, while others remained reserved, their arms still crossed. Malik, standing at the side of the stage, gave a small nod of acknowledgement. One community member stood up. "Words are easy," she said. "How do we know you've really changed?" Several others murmured in agreement. Tom took a deep breath. "You're right. Words aren't enough. I'm committed to continuing this learning process and to calling out discrimination when I see it, even if it's uncomfortable. I know I have a long way to go, but I'm willing to put in the work." Another attendee spoke up. "Would you be willing to participate in our community outreach programs? To see firsthand the impact of discrimination?" Tom nodded without hesitation. "Yes, absolutely. I want to be part of the solution." As Tom stepped away from the microphone, the atmosphere in the room was mixed. Some people approached him, offering words of encouragement for his willingness to change. Others remained distant, adopting a wait-and-see attitude. Malik watched the scene unfold, his expression thoughtful. He recognized the difficulty of Tom's position and appreciated the effort, but he also knew that true change would require more than a single speech. The real test would be in Tom's actions moving forward. As the event wound down, Tom found himself in conversation with several community members, listening more than speaking. For the first time, he began to truly understand the weight of his actions and the long road ahead in gaining trust and making amends. In the weeks following the community event, the car dealership underwent a visible transformation. New policies were implemented to promote inclusivity, and diversity training became a regular part of employee development. The showroom now featured multilingual signage and brochures highlighting the company's commitment to serving all communities. Malik and Sarah found themselves at the forefront of these changes. They formed an unlikely alliance, working together to develop initiatives that would foster a more welcoming environment. Malik's social media influence combined with Sarah's insider knowledge of the dealership created a powerful force for change. One of their first projects was a mentorship program, pairing experienced salespeople with newcomers from underrepresented backgrounds. They also organized monthly community outreach events, inviting local organizations to use the dealership space for meetings and workshops. Tom, true to his word, began participating in these initiatives. He volunteered for the mentorship program and attended every community event. However, his journey was far from smooth. Some colleagues embraced his efforts at change, while others remained skeptical, viewing his actions as mere attempts to save face. During a staff meeting, Tom suggested implementing a blind application process for new hires to reduce bias. His idea was met with mixed reactions. One coworker snidely remarked, "Trying to score some points, Tom?" The comment stung, but Tom pressed on, determined to prove his sincerity. Outside of work, Tom faced challenges too. Some friends distanced themselves, uncomfortable with his new perspective. At a barbecue, an old buddy joked, "Don't tell me you've gone all politically correct on us now." Tom found himself defending his changed views, realizing how deeply ingrained certain attitudes were in his social circle. Meanwhile, Malik and Sarah's efforts began to gain recognition beyond the dealership. Other businesses in the automotive industry reached out, seeking advice on improving their diversity and inclusion practices. Malik was invited to speak at industry conferences, sharing the story of how one viral video led to meaningful change. As the dealership's reputation improved, so did its sales numbers. The inclusive atmosphere attracted a more diverse clientele, and employee satisfaction surveys showed marked improvement. The management team, initially skeptical of the changes, now pointed to them as a key factor in the company's success. Despite these positive developments, challenges remained. Some employees resisted the changes, arguing that they felt forced to walk on eggshells at work. Tom often found himself caught in the middle, trying to bridge the gap between old attitudes and new expectations. Just as the dealership seemed to be settling into its new, more inclusive culture, a new crisis erupted. A former colleague of Tom's, bitter about being passed over for a promotion, leaked an old video to social media. The footage showed Tom at a company party 2 years prior, making racist jokes and mocking customers from minority backgrounds. The video spread rapidly online, reigniting the controversy surrounding the dealership. #TomHasn'tChanged began trending, with many questioning the sincerity of Tom's recent efforts and the dealership's commitment to change. Malik found himself in a difficult position. While he had seen genuine effort from Tom in recent months, this new revelation cast doubt on Tom's transformation. Malik's followers looked to him for a response, pressuring him to denounce Tom and the dealership. The dealership's management held an emergency meeting. Some argued for immediately firing Tom to save face, while others defended him, citing his recent contributions to their inclusivity efforts. The debate grew heated, reflecting the larger community's division over the issue. Tom, devastated by the resurfaced video, isolated himself at home. He ignored calls from colleagues and friends, overwhelmed by shame and fear for his future. The progress he had made felt suddenly meaningless in the face of his past actions. Sarah, conflicted about her role in supporting Tom's redemption, reached out to Malik for guidance. "I thought he had changed," she confided, "but now I'm not sure if I was just naive. What do we do now?" Malik wrestled with the dilemma. He believed in the possibility of genuine change, but also understood the anger of those who felt betrayed. He decided to address the issue head-on in a live stream, inviting experts to discuss the complexities of personal growth and accountability. During the stream, Malik said, "Change is a process, not an event. We need to create space for people to grow, but also hold them accountable for their past actions. The question is, how do we balance these needs? The community remained divided. Some praised Malik for his nuanced approach, while others accused him of being too lenient. The dealership faced mounting pressure to take decisive action, with protesters gathering outside their premises demanding Tom's termination. As the controversy raged on, the dealership's hard-won reputation for inclusivity hung in the balance. The management team knew that their next steps would be crucial, not just for Tom's future, but for the credibility of their entire diversity initiative. As the crisis deepened, Malik decided to take a bold step. He used his platform to expose the broader issues of discrimination within the automotive industry, shifting the focus from Tom's individual case to systemic problems. In a series of posts, Malik shared anonymous stories from dealership employees across the country, revealing a pattern of discrimination that went far beyond a single incident. He highlighted cases of pay disparities, denied promotions, and hostile work environments faced by minorities and women in the industry. Tom's actions were wrong, Malik wrote, but they're a symptom of a larger problem. We need to address the root causes of discrimination in this industry, not just punish individuals. The exposé sent shockwaves through the automotive world. Other influencers and journalists picked up the story, leading to a wider investigation of industry practices. The dealership found itself at the center of a national conversation about workplace discrimination. Pressure mounted on the dealership's administration to take action. They called an all-hands meeting to address the situation. The tension in the room was palpable as employees from all levels gathered, uncertain about the future. The general manager spoke first. We've been forced to confront some uncomfortable truths about our industry and our own company. It's clear that our efforts at change, while well-intentioned, haven't gone far enough. He announced the formation of an independent committee to review the dealership's practices and make recommendations for systemic changes. He also revealed that the decision about Tom's future would be made public at a community assembly the following week. As the meeting ended, employees broke into heated discussions. Some defended Tom, arguing that firing him would be a step backward in encouraging people to change. Others insisted that keeping him would send the wrong message about accountability. Sarah, feeling conflicted, approached Malik after the meeting. I want to help, she said, but I'm worried about my own position. I've been complicit in some of these practices in the past. What if people find out? Malik considered her words carefully. The goal isn't to punish everyone who's made mistakes, he replied. It's to create real change. Your perspective could be valuable in shaping that change. As the day of the community assembly approached, the atmosphere at the dealership was tense. Everyone knew that the decision about Tom would set a precedent for how the company, and perhaps the industry, would handle similar situations in the future. Tom, still grappling with the consequences of his past actions, prepared himself for what could be the most important moment of his career. The question on everyone's mind was whether the dealership would choose punishment or rehabilitation, and what either choice would mean for the future of their inclusivity efforts. Understood. I'll now develop the final topic 10 of your story, maintaining the direct writing style and aiming for approximately 1,500 characters. The day of the community assembly arrived. The dealership's showroom, cleared of vehicles, was packed with employees, community members, and media representatives. The tension in the air was palpable as the general manager took the stage. After careful consideration, he began, "We've decided to keep Tom on our staff." A murmur rippled through the crowd. However, this comes with conditions. Tom will be demoted and required to complete an extensive rehabilitation program. Additionally, he'll lead a new mentorship initiative for minority employees, sharing his journey and the lessons he's learned. The announcement was met with mixed reactions. Some nodded in approval, while others shouted their disapproval. The general manager raised his hands for silence and continued, outlining a series of company-wide changes aimed at addressing systemic discrimination. As the assembly concluded, Tom approached the microphone. "I know I don't deserve a second chance," he said, his voice shaking, "but I'm committed to using this opportunity to make real change, not just for myself, but for our entire industry." Just as the event seemed to be wrapping up, Sarah stood up, her face pale but determined. "I have something to confess," she announced. The room fell silent. "I, too, have a history of discriminatory behavior. I've hidden it, but I realize now that I can't be part of the solution if I'm not honest about my past." Her revelation sent shockwaves through the assembly. Malik, caught off guard, found himself reevaluating everything. He realized that change was more complex than he'd initially thought, involving not just the obviously guilty, but also those who seemed to be allies. In the days that followed, Malik grappled with this new reality. He organized a series of discussions, bringing together Tom, Sarah, and others who wanted to confront their past behaviors. These raw, honest conversations revealed the deep-rooted nature of prejudice and the challenges of true change. Tom and Sarah, now unlikely partners in the journey towards redemption, worked together on the new mentorship program. Their shared experience of confronting their past mistakes gave them a unique perspective on the process of change. Malik, observing this unexpected development, realized that true progress often comes from unexpected places. He wrote a thoughtful post reflecting on the complexity of human growth and the importance of creating space for genuine change. As the dust settled, the dealership emerged as an unlikely model for addressing discrimination in the workplace. The story of Tom, Sarah, and Malik became a case study in how confronting uncomfortable truths can lead to meaningful transformation. The journey was far from over, but for the first time, there was a sense that real, lasting change was possible. The voices that had been set in motion were now moving in harmony, creating a new narrative of inclusion and understanding.